Hey, Blake, welcome to episode 168, man.
Good morning, Dean. How are you?
Phew, that's a lot of episodes. Okay, good, thank you. All right, so tell folks a little bit about you, and then I've got three sort of hypothetical scenarios that we're going to walk through in this episode. So, who is Blake?
Well, I'm Blake Thomas, and I run an digital agency called Pilotfish. I operate as a brand strategist and fractional chief marketing officer for small to mid-sized companies that really need help articulating who they are, who they're for, and what they're all about. I've been in the marketing and brand building world for just under 20 years, and this is my third agency that I have led and overseen.
Wow. All right, then. Third agency, right on. Okay, so scenario number one. You've got a new client. Today's day one. For whatever reason, they're not virtual. Right? You're actually going to go visit them. Okay. So we're going to have two questions around that. The first one is, so you walk in, it's day one. What's sort of the nightmare scenario when you walk in, and what's the dream scenario?
The nightmare scenario, I guess I'd have to start with that, although they're very rare nightmare scenarios. But
good.
I'd say the nightmare scenario is walking into an in-person meeting and the person you're actually meeting is not available, and you are now discussing whatever you're talking about with a non-decision maker. And that rarely happens, but it has. And that would be the nightmare situation because it's a waste of everybody's time.
Right.
The best circumstance is to walk into a client who, during that meeting, I mean, this is a mutual, it's a mutual relationship being built. And so it is starts off positive and ends positive. And on both sides of the coin, we're here to, provide you with expertise and solve a problem, or many problems for that matter, whatever the case might be. Keep it positive. Make sure that the relationship is being built for a win-win outcome.
All right. Along those lines, question number two.
Okay.
So you're on site. It's day one. You're getting your sit down with the CEO. You've talked to the CEO before, but this is like the first. Now it's official, right? The CEO says to you, "Hey, Blake, so just by the nature of your job and the nature of my job, you deal with a lot more CEOs than I deal with CMOs. Is there anything that I should start doing to make sure that we extract every last penny of value out of the money we're spending on you? Or is there anything I should stop doing so that we extract maximum value while you're here?"
I'm going to ask you to ask that question again, Dean. I'm sorry.
Sure. So the CEO wants to know if there's anything that they should start or stop doing so that your sort of contribution and strengths aren't muted.
Understood. My first meeting with the CEO is always a discovery and insight agenda. So I'm there at my first meeting with the CEO to get my head around specifically why I'm here, why I've been invited in, and how I can help them. Is it a brand problem? Is it a communications issue? Is it what? I don't know. So that time I spend with a CEO is oftentimes mainly listening and asking the right open-ended questions to dictate where this relationship and the project even going to start and end.
Sorry. Now I want to move you. Cool. We're done with that scenario. Scenario number two. Okay. You're on stage. You're the keynote speaker. You're talking to 250 people. They all came out of corporate. Every one of them became a fractional CMO yesterday. They're brand new. They don't even know what they don't even know, right? So we're going to go through three things, and I just need you to finish the thought. Okay. So number one, you're all brand new, fractional CMOs. I can tell you, starting out, the thing you're going to be most shocked by is what?
Most shocked by? You're going to be shocked that you're able to bring an awful lot of expertise and insight to a client for a investment level that is a lot less than they may have expected. With the fractional model, as many of us are aware, The fractional model allows my services and my expertise to be catered to depending on the needs of the client, really. So I'm 50% plus less expensive than onboarding a new employee. I have a 20-year track record of success, and I know what I'm doing. And so my message to the group would be simply this: be your authentic self, because that is ultimately what you're going to be providing your clients to follow your lead on. It's authenticity. So in my world, and in my agency, and in my consultation as it relates to brand strategy and brand building, it's all about humanizing their communication foundation.
All right, that's smart. All right, then, staying with the clients, then, your next statement to this audience: many clients just don't understand what?
They don't. And it's funny. I can tell you, every client I've ever worked with, or on a project, or even a retained relationship, they didn't know, they weren't aware they needed my services until we started a conversation. They didn't understand the value of their own brand. They don't understand the value of a communication strategic foundation as it relates to your marketing communications. And they don't understand how authenticity matters. And it's funny, you talk to a CEO and they know their business better than anybody in the world, according to them, until I start asking questions to the CEO's employees, mid-management, C-level executives that are working within this organization. And then I flip the questions over to the client side, their customers. And what I do is I'll marry that information and that insight as to what a CEO thinks their greatest assets are, or their special sauce and whatever they do. Marry that and merge that with what's really important to their customers. And it's very enlightening, the direction that comes from that. And 9 times out of 10, the CEO lights up because he already knew it. He just didn't know how to say it or articulate how they should be communicating their value.
All right, excellent answer. And now, some intern is trying to usher you off the stage, right? They need the next speaker up. They're playing the music, right? They're trying to get you off, but you don't want to leave yet because you want to leave one last thing for that audience, and you tell them the most important lesson I can pass along to you about getting clients is what?
Don't be afraid. That's it. Your own fear will hold you back, whatever that looks like for you. And I battle that myself. It's an internal issue that I've overcome over the years, thank God. But you're going in, you're just starting off. Confidence, there's nothing to fear. You have a lot of good to bring to somebody's livelihood. And that's what we do for a living.
All right. Okay, so here's my next question. New scenario. We're winding down. This is about talking to clients. Okay, you're talking to clients. Most clients think they understand at least a little bit about marketing. What do people talk about these days in these sort of prospective client kind of meetings? What do they talk about, and you think it's overrated? And is there anything that you think is just criminally underrated that people don't, or companies don't pay enough attention to, but they really should focus?
Sure. Overrated is our tactics. Everybody's looking for the magic wand in marketing. And marketing in general has just had this stigma of not being of value. And in my experience and belief is that there's too many people in supposed marketing that don't know what they're doing. There's basically salespeople selling a tactic and a dream and a magic wand that this is going to be the solvent to all of your problems. And 9 times out of 10, it does not solve any problem because their strategy hasn't changed. Their communication, the way they're communicating, isn't authentic. I also run into, AI. AI is the easy answer for everybody, and everything's automated. And through automation becomes a robotic sequence of very annoying communications. I know you get these, as I do, every single day. So I'll stay with that. It's just the misunderstanding of the actual value of brand strategy, marketing strategy, and as that relates, and to also take the insights that you've discovered and make those actionable. I mean, use those and incorporate those into our overall strategic plan. And when you do that, good things happen because it's genuine, it's authentic, and they own that alone. They're not copying anybody.
No, that's good stuff. Okay, so as you're talking to clients, trying to figure out if you're a good fit, what's a red flag when someone brings up who might be as a prospect, and what's a green flag?
I've run into a red flag recently, and the red flag I asked this potential client in my first meeting what they thought their special sauce was. I mean, what is it? What makes you so special, and what makes you different from your competitors? And the answer was very arrogantly, our intelligence. That was a flag because their intelligence was based on nothing. And I'm looking at their current website and the way they communicate, and it's a bunch of canned nonsense. There is no time spent yet in developing their brand, their strategy, and overall position, for that matter. But to have that automatic, arrogant, we're smarter than everybody else attitude is certainly a flag.
All right, fair enough. Okay, I'm going to ask you. It's only 3 words in this sentence. It's either the easiest or hardest question that I ever ask anybody. So, Blake, what's marketing?
I didn't hear you, Dean. I'm sorry.
What is marketing?
What is marketing? You want me to sum that up in one sentence? I can try to. So, marketing is taking your unique message, your unique way of communicating how you solve potential customers' problems, and then targeting those individual people by understanding your customer. So what I run into most times with every client is understanding the customer, understanding their client, because it's strange. Most clients haven't taken the time to at least deeply speak with their customers to find out why they choose to buy their product or service. When you get to the reasons why they really choose you, it changes everything, as opposed to how you think how marketing should be and what you're messaging. It's authenticity, it's uniqueness, and it is just getting to that specialty that only you bring. I tell every client of mine that they are their own unique IP. In that I say, because based on their life experiences alone, they've developed and designed this brand and business that they're sitting on and trying to build and scale. But they haven't done it to their fullest potential by not understanding specifically who they're talking to, why they're talking to them, and what problem they're actually solving.
Okay, so normally we have 2 guests, and this was the part of the podcast where each guest can ask each other the question. Now, as it happens, your co-guest, reschedule that, and they're going to record next week. So you're the only star on this episode. So here's your choice. You can ask a question for the audience to get back to us about, or you can ask me a question, but it's your call. But is there anything you're wondering about in other fractional CMOs' experience, or I'm not a fractional CMO, or anything in sort of like the creative writing part of marketing that you want to ask me? Which you can do one, or you can do both if you want.
Sure. What is your brand? What is your brand? Actually, I would ask this. Um, in your opinion, in professional opinion, what does a brand consist of? What is a brand? What is oh, am I
So you're
muted?
asking me or fractional CMOs?
Okay, let me back up. I would ask. Okay, so we're still. I thought you asked me if I would ask this
It's
to
up
a
to you.
client.
You can ask either one. Yeah. What do people tell you when you ask them what a brand is? What
What
do
a brand is?
prospects tell you?
It's their logo. That's their brand. No, it's much more than that. As you know, a brand is everything, literally every touch point, from your social media communications to your website to how your salespeople speak to a prospective client, all the way down the line. And there's so many moving parts to it. A solid brand is a brand that is built and architected where everybody understands it internally and externally, and there is no disconnection. That's what we're after. So
Smart.
I will ask you, as a branding guy and copywriter and big idea on the hook, you know, what is brand marketing in your opinion?
So let me explain it in my own terms for my business, because most copywriters have a very hard time branding themselves, and I don't. I mostly get hired by CMOs and CROs, right, heads of sales. And what I ultimately came up with to explain around the branding and positioning was that in sales, and you probably come across this before, in sales, there's a concept of farmers and hunters, right? But I'd never seen it applied to copywriters. And so I adopted that. And so, the first thing it says on my main headline on positioning is there are two kinds of copywriters. And then it says there are farmers and there are hunters. Most are farmers, and that's fine. But I'm in the hunter category. What's a hunter copywriter? I write the stuff that we interrupt people with, to be very blunt about it, right? I focus on the first few moments to the first few minutes of some prospect's attention. Then to draw them in. After that, everything that everyone else wrote, the blog, the use cases, the brochures, whatever, right? God bless them, right? Someone has to write all that stuff. A lot of businesses need a lot of words written. Go for it. I do not write for people who are already interested. I write for the prospects who are not interested, but we think they should be. And branding around that is, especially since I have to establish it very quickly in some stranger's head, is I need to tell them their story, but with my client in it somehow, as opposed to trying to make them sit still while we tell them my client's story. I said, no one wants to sit still and listen to you tell them your story. It's very difficult. It's very expensive. It's a lot cheaper and easier to just tell them their story, but with you in it. People will listen to their own story.
Well said. Very well said.
There was a beep there, and I said, that shouldn't happen. I was on Do Not Disturb, so I made sure it's not going to happen again. Okay, so who should be reaching out to you, Blake, these days, and how should they do it?
Most of my work comes from, like you, strategic network partners. So a lot of my work comes from strategy advisors, growth consultants, revenue consultants, accountants, even salespeople, especially in the web world. I mean, everybody is selling a website to somebody, and some of my really good relationships come from salespeople who are out there selling websites and digital marketing, and they don't have the expertise to develop a brand strategy, a marketing strategy, or both. And they bring me in to develop that for their particular client and write the copy for their new website. Also, give them craft a brand guide if they don't have one. And really, the most important part, I think, for the brand guide, when it's a web person, a web salesperson tapping me and bringing me into a client situation and relationship, is just the trust factor. It's like my job is to come in there and make sure that this website is going to be that authentic, who we are, who we're for, and what we're all about piece that's missing. but to really have it written and designed in a way that's going to resonate with that particular client's customers. Those are win-win relationships, because now when the most important work has been done prior to designing and developing a website, that website salesperson, armed with a solid brand strategic foundation, communication foundation, and brand strategy, shines. I make my network partners look like gold.
And how should people get in touch with you?
They can go to my website at pilotfish.agency. They can find me on LinkedIn at Blake Thomas CMO. You can find me on Instagram at Blake Thomas CMO. And I'd be happy to connect with like-minded people. I will say this, Dean. I do operate with a bit of a tagline in my world, and that is this: I provide great work for great people who do great work. And the key words are great people. I'm not for everybody. Everybody's not for me. I get that. But the relationships that are built on mutual trust and the relationship is sound and solid, that's when the best work comes into play, where the client is executing the recommendations and activating every recommendation across the board as it relates to their brand and their marketing.
I like that tagline. Mine is not quite as warm.
One more time.
I like your tagline. My tagline is not quite as warm, although it is descriptive, right? Where I just say, I write for the first few moments of some stranger's attention.
Because that's all I have, right?
Yeah. Okay, Blake, man, thanks so much for being here. This has been fantastic.
Is that it? That was easy.
Yeah. I told you it'd be easy. All right. So thanks to everyone who's watching. Thanks, Blake. Stick around for a second, but we'll see you again next time, everybody. Bye.